Let's start.
You are now rocking with the best.
Double rainbow. Oh my God.
Live on your radio. It's the Beat Break with your host, Sean Garvey.
I'm the dude.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the Beat Break Morning Show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are now rocking with the best. I go by the architect, Sean Garvey, in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you follow us on all your social media at Beat Break Radio, hashtag Beat Break Radio. We are in the building, ladies and gentlemen, especially the ladies, because we're doing something special. But before we go any further, I am joined by my special guest co-host. She is in the building. I haven't seen you in a minute. You can pull that mic closer just a little bit. You can pull it back. It's been a while. It's been a long time. Maybe three, maybe a couple of years or so. It's been a long time since I met you. Without a dope beat to step to. We're gonna do some hip hop trivia. You know, yeah. Who did that? Who did that song? Who did? Timberland? Whoa! Wrong answer. Wrong answer. Eric B. and Rakim. Oh, wow. Okay. We got her in the building, ladies and gentlemen, Naeema Nelson. She is the special guest host to the Beat Break Morning Show. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Excited to be on the show. And it's for women. And it's March. Uh-huh. And it's kind of cold, kind of warm. So
kind of cold,
feeling good.
Warm. Feeling good. Yeah. How was it getting out here? The traffic.
I live like kind of far. So I live like in Marietta, close to Woodstock. So it's like coming from the other neck of the woods to this neck of the woods. So it's a little bit of traffic and potholes. So it was a little bit of a drive, but I made it safely.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
And I made it early. I wasn't on CP time. I was early on, So I feel good.
Yeah. When people ask me what are my likes and dislikes, I point out the dislikes before I point out the likes, and the dislike is traffic. And I feel as though, how many out-of-towners do we have? Because I know you from New York.
Yes.
You from New York, right? We have a lot of out-of-towners inside the studio.
What do you consider
out-of-towners? Like New Yorkers. Not from Georgia.
You've been here for X amount of years, like past 15, you're considered a Georgia peach.
No, I will never be a peach. No.
Right there.
I'm always going to be an apple. I may go with little peach fuzz, but I've never fully. I would never fully submit to be a Georgia peach. I love Georgia, but it'll always be about New York. Guess how New Yorkers are, though. We
I am ATL all the way, all day, every day, and I feel like as though Georgia, the state of Georgia, need to give us native Atlantans helicopters. That part, and you like, who's gonna pay for it?
Right.
The people that are not from Georgia.
Before y'all get helicopters, you need to get adequate equipment for when it snows. So.
Did we
get some helicopters?
We got some
Adequate equipment. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Adequate.
First things first.
Wow.
Let's cross that bridge.
I don't have anything to say about that. But thank you for being here. Thank
you for having me.
All right. So we got some guests in the studio. We got some guests in the building. And I hear some extra noises in the background. That's I'm like, we got more than how many? Oh, you. Oh, by the way, thank you so much. We are on Facebook and Instagram Live at Beat Break Radio. So all my Facebook users and IG people out there, you can check us out live, FB and IG at Beat Break Radio. But we got some guests in the building this morning, and you said it's March, Women's History Month. That's right? Yeah.
Yes. March, Women's History Month. We have some awesome guests.
March Madness. Yes. So, we're going to go around the table real quick. But before I do that, I got to say big ups, big shout outs to Kel the DJ.
Kel the DJ.
She is in the building. Killing it with the sound effects in the background. I really appreciate that. I know you don't have a microphone, Kel the DJ.
It's packed away, so I didn't,
Yeah. But no, it's all good. Thank you for coming this morning right here on the Beat Break Morning Show. And big shout out to DJ Rollum. We got the DJ Rollum mix later on in the program. But we're going to go around the table because we have nothing but women in the studio. It's only two guys in the studio. but it's women because it's Women History Month, and I thought it was only right, Naeema, that we have some influential, successful, and intelligent, lovely women in the studio since we're celebrating Women's History Month. So we're going to go around the table. I know we're going to share some mics. We're going to have to share some mics, ladies, but I'm going to go over to you first and foremost. I met you only one time. We was at WRFG in the studio. Shout out to the Remix crew. And you provided some vital information as it pertains to mental illness that plagues the community. But we're going to get into that and then some. And, of course, we have Shanta. Shanta, right?
Shanta,
Yes. Let me have you get on the mic there. How you doing? How you doing this morning?
I'm good. Really enjoying being here. Had some great, pre-show conversation with Naeema. So looking forward to what goes on here during the show.
Okay. You're going to be in for a treat.
That makes me leery.
Leery. Why you say why it makes you leery?
Okay, we'll see.
Oh, okay.
We talking about mental health. We talking about women. Okay, I want to hear what you got to say.
Okay. All right. Now this ain't Atlanta Comedy Theater. Now.
No.
This ain't.
No, I don't play games.
Though we got people laughing, this is no joke.
No, that's so serious.
Absolutely. All right. And we have another special guest. Oops, I'm dropping my phone here. We have another special guest. It is. It's actually a tablet. It's a phone. It's a phone. Tablet. Yes. She is a filmmaker, of course, award-winning filmmaker. Done some work for a lot of shows, of course, like just to name a few, House of Pain. You also done some work for The Walking Dead, a popular series, of course, and The Wire, just to name a few, and The Sopranos, of course, an iconic.
My age, but yes.
But I mean, these are achievements, though. These are accolades, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay. And you are currently doing a series right now, a web series. You and a team, of course.
It's the three of the team members.
It's the three.
Well,
it's the
three of us.
It's the trio. Go ahead and go on the mic and introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, my name is Shanalyna.
Shanalyna. Yes.
I'm the producer for a web series called Oh Jordan, an autism web series. So we feature a young boy named Jordan, and we see his trials and tribulations along with his family as he learns he has autism and how he deals with it at home and at school.
That's nice.
So here with me today is my production designer, Heather Covington.
Heather Covington. How you? Yeah.
I didn't know it was my turn.
Let me see if we can pull the mic up just a little bit. We're going to get you some assistance there with the microphone. But thank you for joining with us, Heather. I'm looking at your notes here, and people know you as a testimony lyrical artist as well.
Spoken word artist.
You're a spoken word artist.
So testimony lyrical artist is my spoken word name.
Yeah. That is dope.
You gonna drop something for us?
After we cover Old Jordan, if you want to
do a little freestyle.
Okay. Some drums.
I don't freestyle though. No, I don't freestyle, but I can spit.
She got some.
Okay. Hey, that'll work.
Fire. Yes.
All right, and we got the third member, part of the production team for Old Jordan.
Yes, my name's Angeletha Maaja.
Angeletha Maaja. Hello.
And I'm a biblical counselor, and I specialize in domestic violence and anger management. But I came along the team with Shanalyna as co-producing with O. Jordan because I love healthy families, and this is what it's about.
Okay, nice. Let's go ahead and let's talk about O. Jordan for a moment. I did get a chance to check out the series O. Jordan, and for those who are just tuning in to the Beat Break Morning Show, explain the concept behind O. Jordan. Go ahead.
The concept behind O. Jordan. Okay, well, O. Jordan initially started out as an Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge that we did. My nephew is on the autism spectrum, and one day before the challenge, he came to me and said, "Hey, I wish I had a platform so that other kids like me, would know that they're not the only ones that are different." And so when the challenge came up, we were like, "This is a perfect opportunity to give him somewhat of a platform." to sort of speak a few truths. So we did a short film called Jordan's Cake, where we took some things from life and some things that weren't. He hates chocolate cake, but in the story, the character Jordan keeps saying chocolate cake over and over again in an attempt to get his family to go to a bakery because they were having some financial issues. And at the bakery, you find out that they were hiring. And so he was trying to help his family in a different way. We were doing, touching on the aspect of communication, how people on the autism spectrum communicate differently. And so from that series, we had a really good reception and feedback on it. So I call up our writers. There were 8 of us on the project and said, hey, let's turn this into a web series.
Right.
And so it went from a short 5-minute project that we did for a film challenge to a 7-episode web series that are about 6.5 minutes each episode. And each episode touches on something different. We sort of start out talking about the diagnosis, with the school saying, hey, you need to be put in special ed, and his mom going, no, he doesn't. We need to look at inclusion. To going to an episode where we touch on different aspects of autism. Scratchy shirt. He doesn't want to put the shirt on because the material is very irritating to him in a different way than it is for us. And so he has sort of a meltdown, and his aunt calls him something that you have to watch to see.
You don't want to give some spoilers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you got to watch the episodes. But it makes it kind of puts in your face what these families are going through, even from their own family members. We have an episode, Jennifer's Wall, where Jennifer is his sister, and you get to see some of how she feels as the one who's always being looked to. Here, take care of him because he, deals well with her. So we try to touch on different aspects from school, from home, from the different family members. Our cast and crew. We're all volunteers for the project. We had a mixture of people from the initial Easter Seals project that had different disabilities that joined us,
right?
To people who didn't have disabilities but had family members that were on the autism spectrum that were very interested in furthering this project and getting the word out. Because there's a big misunderstanding when it comes to autism because there's no one definition of it. Every person is different who's on the spectrum. It's not like, right, it's not, well, he doesn't like this material, so he must have autism. It's not that. It's a combination of factors that when you look at all together is what makes the person different. And there are different challenges, whether they're verbal or not verbal, whether they're social or not social. And a lot of times it also accompanies other ailments, whether they be mental or physical ailments that come with it as well, which makes it even harder to characterize. Sorry, I tend to go on and on about the project. It's interesting.
You are very talkative, but you selling it.
We like this project.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about it. Online so far, we've put out 5 of the 7 episodes. We have 2 more, with the goal of having all 7 out for Autism Month, which is in May. So in May, we'll have all 7 of them air, and then we're looking towards, doing funding for a second season.
Nice.
All right.
Nice. Awesome. How relatable is this series to you? It must hit home to you. I know each of us in this room has dealt with someone in our family or in our circle of friends that dealt with some illness or misfortune, if you will. Like, how has this hit home to you personally?
Well, Jordan is played by my nephew, Kel Palmer.
Okay.
And so Kel, in addition to being on autism spectrum, is also blind in one eye. And so we tend to forget that because you can't always see the disability that a person has. So a lot of times we refer to it as the invisible disability. No? I can't tell if you can hear me or not when you go back and forth.
I can hear you. I'm looking at everybody.
Sorry, I watch. I watch a lot, so I'm like taking my cookies.
I like how you are very observant.
So that's what I do as a director.
And sing.
So there were a lot of things that I learned, by doing this project that I would have taken for granted before, and just said, "Oh, that's just Kel. That's just his quirk. That's just whatever," and not thinking of it as something else. When we did the initial project, I asked him if he would be okay if there were people with disabilities in the project. And he was like, Auntie, I have a disability. Like, I am one of those people that you're asking me if I would be comfortable with.
Right.
And that was sort of my aha moment, because I was like, no, I love everybody. And it's like, oh, somewhere in the back of your mind, there's a judgmental compartment that you are not, like, being mindful of. And so it helped me be a bit more mindful in what was going on. And I think it helped with my my nephew in terms of being able to talk about things that were going on. 2 of the episodes that we have were done by the kids. Well, the kids in the project participated in it. So there's an episode called The Sleepover that the character Jennifer is played by Jetta Strayhorn.
Okay.
So Jetta Strayhorn and her mother, Clarice Strayhorn, co-wrote that episode.
Nice.
And then the episode, Jordan's Cool, which is out right now, Kel helped the writer come up with a story for it. And Sonny Braithwaite was the writer for the episode. But they literally got together, sat down and met, and we talked about what a story could look like. We got lucky. A gaming company called Mythgard gave us permission to use their game in the video, because my nephew's a big Pokemon fan, and Pokemon was like, no, unless you're paying,
Can't catch them all this
you
time,
can't
right?
do this. Exactly. So Mythgard was like, hey, you can use us, and so we've been playing the Mythgard game all throughout the series.
Okay.
And you get to see it in that episode. But they've been able to be creative in the process, which helped the adults as well to see some of their inner child in the project.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Where you going? We're just getting started. The Beat Break will be right back. It's the Beat Break Morning Show with Sean Garvey and the crew.
So I have some questions. So as people, you guys been in media, been in film, how do you feel that film and media represents mental illness in the Black community? Do you feel like there is a platform? Do you feel like a lot of films maybe portray it adequately, or do you feel there needs to be more?
I would say mental illness would be her forte.
Well, I guess for
Yeah.
autism.
Hey, yeah, it's a reason why you are sitting next to each
you
other.
right?
I'm sorry.
No, go.
Engaged.
Okay. Well, I was saying, how do we feel, since we're talking about film and media? How do we feel like it's mental illness is represented in film and media? How's it portrayed? Is it portrayed poorly? Do you feel like it needs more of a platform, or is it? What do we need to work on?
I absolutely believe it needs more of a platform. So I speak on awareness whenever I can. Autism Month is in May. Children's Mental Health Awareness Week is the first week in May. So we speak a lot about that. We, get the word out. We do a lot of talk about different types of mental health issues. But we see it small scale. We're starting to see things grow a little more. I know I was at Essence last summer, and there were vendors there with the text number for suicide crisis line. So we've had 1-800 numbers for quite a while. Kids these days are engaged differently. They text, or some people just don't want to talk. So you can communicate via chat with the text lines that they have now, which is great. That's wonderful. But the way that mental health is portrayed, film and on television, is unfortunate. Because a lot of time there are a lot of stereotypes, and we do tend to marginalize and put people into one category when everyone's triggers or everyone's nuances aren't the same.
Right.
So autism is definitely on a spectrum. And even when you're talking about other types of mental illness, we range them. Is it acute? Is it moderate? Is it severe? How long? How long have you been suffering with these symptoms or living with? I don't like to say people suffer. Some people do suffer, but living with, because I want you to know that you can recover. Recovery is possible. Relapse also happens, but recovery is real. You want to give people hope. And a lot of times they make depression look miserable. And depression can be miserable. There's the other side to depression as well. But they also tend to be very centric on how the person who is observing the person with the mental illness feels. This is the way my friend sees mental illness. She's lazy, she's tired, she's selfish, she's whatever. But you're not getting that internal dialogue from the character that's experiencing it. And when you do, it's typically on the darker side. We fail to, realize that even when people are experiencing depression, you have highs. Like, people in depression, you can be like, oh, I got some energy today. It's great. You get up, you do stuff. Life is good. And then that might go for a couple weeks. We have ebbs and flows.
Right.
And then there's the, what is wrong with you? What do you have to be? You were just XYZ a while ago. So again, it's not that internal dialogue of what the person who's experiencing, the character is experiencing, how they're feeling. They don't get buy-in from people in the mental health community.
How do you determine between, so, you know, we talk about depression, you can have highs and lows. How do we differentiate between bipolar disorder and then something like depression? Because if somebody has highs and lows and being, how do you know, how would you diagnose the difference between the two? Again?
And that's the thing. It's in the diagnosis. So when we do a diagnosis, we're going to take a history. A good clinician takes a really good history. They're going to find out how long you've been experiencing these things. If they can, they'll get anecdotal data. Like, my mom noticed I was experiencing these things when I was XYZ, or my sister has, you know, da-da-da-da-da-da. Or when you go to your doctor, and this is why it's really important for people to go to their primary care physicians. Talk to your doctor. Tell them what's going on. They may have history, you know, and sign the ROI. Let the doctor talk to the therapist.
What's the ROI?
The release of information.
Okay.
It's very important. So they can communicate, because mental health care is a team effort. You are not alone in this. This is not you by yourself. And you definitely shouldn't try to, I would not advise one to either medicate solely or to seek counseling solely. Counseling may work for you, but if you need additional help, I'd say don't be afraid to get it.
Can I tag on?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Go ahead.
I just say that was one of the things that I'm thankful that you're having this talk today about, because we in the African American community don't really like to talk about mental health. We don't really like to talk about autism. We don't really like to talk about things that are wrong within a community or with each other. Everything is fine. Everything is okay.
What you were saying, we were just talking about, when you're saying you're fine and good, those aren't necessarily feelings. They're just kind of, they're not necessarily adjectives. They're just kind of like fillers. I feel like there's like a filler for not really knowing what you feel. Yeah. But go ahead.
So I just think that it's good to have the conversation started is one of the things that we need just to have happen is for conversations to start. I would say there are quite a number of people on the autism spectrum who have issues with mental health, that deal with depression, especially when we have that spectrum, the highs, the lows, are you high functioning autistic? Are you nonverbal? You know, and it's like, what's the difference? You can be smart or you can be not so smart and still be on an autism spectrum. A lot of people are like, oh, you're like Einstein because you're autistic. You must love math and science. No, I don't. I like the arts.
Everybody's not Rain Man.
Right, everybody's not. Right. And that to answer the question about media, tends to portray people on the autism spectrum as either the brilliant mind, like the Brilliant Mind, the show Brilliant Mind, or the Einsteins, or the Rain Man, and not like the people who are living the normal everyday life. And that was one of the things with the Easter Seals Disability Project in general, is that with people with disabilities, they're either saving the day, you know, or they're the ones that people are just making fun of. And so, well, what happens to the real life? Why do you only show the extremes? Right. And so one of the things that I'm working on in terms of the movie making is showing the other perspectives. I mean, this is still part of Black life, you know? Yeah. Just because I have autism doesn't mean that I'm not Black anymore. Just because I have mental health issues does not mean that I'm not part of the community anymore. We still have a voice, but we try to hush those voices, and just like the people that we view as successful to rise to the top, where if those people had the support that they needed, they too can rise as well.
Absolutely.
Nice. We only got a few minutes before we go into a break right here on the Beat Break Morning Show. Go ahead and let the listeners know how they can check out the show. It's a web series. Yes. How can they check out the show? And how can they follow you on all social media platforms?
Ooh. You guys can see the eyebrows.
We have a website. Our website is o-jordan.com, and that's O-H o-jordan.com is the website. On Facebook, we have the O Jordan Facebook page. So if you type in O Jordan Web Series, or if you do, what is that, the ampersand 0H Jordan, it'll come up. You can follow me. My name is Shanalyna, which is even harder than O Jordan.
Shanalyna.
My name is Shanalyna CP, Shanalyna. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Shanta and Shanalyna. That sounds like a good.
Shanalyna, yeah. And then I also have my company is Spirit of Life Films. So if you go to Spirit of Life Films, which is probably the easiest to say,
right?
We also have information on there about the project.
Okay.
And then my wonderful, co-workers here also have Facebook pages, and they repost and post everything about the series.
We repost and post over and post over. My Facebook is Testimony Lyrical Artist, and my Instagram is Testimony Lyrical Artist.
And she didn't say that she's also a visual artist.
I am a visual artist.
So
you are a jack of all trades.
Right.
I'm also on Facebook at Covington Creative Group. Yeah.
Tell them about your art. Why you got the mic? Come on.
Okay. So I'm a visual artist. I study multimedia art, but in the last 3 years ago, I started painting after my mother passed away. And so I painted consistently for 2 years, and it helped me through my grief process. And I see painting as my mom's final contribution to me. People say, I didn't know you were a painter. And I'm like, I didn't know that either.
Right.
But that was a gift that rose up after she transitioned. And so I'm grateful for that. And I'm using my art to kind of put it out into the world and just spread a little joy.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, Angeletha Maaja. You can find me on Facebook.
Pull that mic up just a little bit.
You can find me on Angeletha Maaja on Facebook and also on Instagram. However, I am not as fluent with using.
So you may not get a response, but
like I'm supposed to. But I'm also a part of a nonprofit called Women's Resources Incorporated, and we bring on other women that are in the community that are starting their own businesses, and we go out in the community feeding the homeless and doing Christmas and back to school specials. And we just had a gala not long ago, and it was absolutely fabulous. But that was our annual fundraiser, and bringing in O Jordan as well, because we're not just doing one thing or two things. As you can see, all of us have different things going on. But I like to bring everything together, because with me even being a biblical counselor, back in the day, I was doing performing arts, singing and dancing and acting. And that's how I kind of, how I got in with Shanalyna, Right. But I'm like, I'm too old to be doing all that extra dancing and stuff.
You should have seen it. You should have seen it.
You still got it. You still got it. Don't downplay.
But I can ballroom.
One, two step on the floor.
Okay, Detroit. So I want to make sure that when I'm getting involved in the different programs and projects, healthy families and love is very important to me. So when we come out and we start talking about the different disabilities and the health aspects and all that, back in the day when we had someone in our home that had some kind of issue, Uncle Paul is up there in the attic, just take his plate, put it by the door, kick one time,
Yeah.
We just covered it. But for the most part, we also were stigmatized and ashamed to come out and talk about it. And even so, going through the age changes with women and the different health scares and stuff, when the doctor said to me, so do you need something for depression? And I was thinking, did I have a sign on my head or something? No, I'm fine. Because of the stigmatism. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to put me in this category. So I think it's very important for us to come out and just show love, that no matter where we are, and if you take the time to look at each and every person. You can see their individualization, and it'll help you to be able to understand them a little bit better.
Even understand yourself.
Exactly.
You know?
Nice. So I want everybody that's listening and watching us, I want everybody to check out the series O Jordan. You can check it out on YouTube, and they can also go to the website ojordan.com. O-Jordan.com. Say that one more time.
OH-Jordan.com. If you go to YouTube, Michael Jordan kind of, owns the station if you just write in Jordan. So you have to type in O Jordan Autism.
Okay.
And the episodes will come up that way as well.
And it's a PG rated series.
Yeah, it's family. It's family oriented.
Family. That's awesome.
It's family.
Awesome.
Family. Anybody can see it.
Yes.
And this is, you definitely going to be educated. Everybody can see it. It's definitely educational, and it's also important as well as we continue to raise the importance and awareness behind autism. So I really appreciate that, you all.
Thanks.
All right, so how about this? Let's take a break. Kel the DJ on the ones and twos, ladies and gentlemen. She's going to take us to break right here on the Beat Break Morning Show. And we got more coming up because this is Women's History Month. And we're going to touch on some important topics facing women in America today. All right, so don't go anywhere. We're going to give some shout outs when we come back from the break. The Beat Break Morning Show on Facebook, IG at Beat Break Radio, Sean Garvey, with my lovely special guest co-host Naeema Nelson.
Naeema Amina. I like that.
Say that one more time.
Naeema Amina.
Naeema Amina. That's your stage name?
Naeema Amina, yes. Naeema Amina.
Okay. Y'all gonna make it difficult for a brother.
That's not too hard. I help you.
I'm so used to calling you Naeema Nelson, but it's Naeema Amina. All right. Okay. Can you say that, G? Can you? You got it. You got it.
Y'all got it too, right? Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna try not to mess it up when we come back from break. It's the Beat Break Morning Show. Kel the DJ.
Of course I Twitter myself.
If you want to follow the crew everywhere they go, follow them on twitter.com/BeatBreakRadio. /BeatBreakRadio. It's the Beat Break Morning Show with Sean Garvey and the crew.
Okay. The Beat Break Morning Show. Oh my goodness. What's happening right now? You should see the behind the scenes situations that are happening right now. The Beat Break Morning Show, Facebook Live and IG Live at Beat Break Radio. Kel the DJ on the ones and twos, ladies and gentlemen. Women's History Month is going down. The women's edition of the Beat Break Morning Show. Follow us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Beat Break Radio. We got some comments, some shout outs right here on our Facebook page. Got a shout out to Lucy. Shout outs to Lucy. Also, big shout outs to her for helping me put this interview together with the filmmakers behind the series O Jordan.
Thanks, Lucy.
Yeah. And we got some questions. For the crew behind O Jordan. Let's see. Let's go to CC on Facebook. She asked, what inspired O Jordan? I think we answered that question, but just reiterate the answer.
Okay. I would say my nephew inspired O Jordan. He plays the title character, Jordan. His name is Mikkel, and he's become quite the actor. So if you guys are looking for young actors for your projects, we got Kel Palmer. Check him out in the series O Jordan. And then we have Jetta Strayhorn, who plays his sister. The two of them together are the bomb. Individually, they're wonderful as well.
Yeah. We got a lot of people checking in on Facebook and on IG. So many to name. Shout outs to Tracy, Tiana. Also shout outs to Philip from Atlanta. We also want to send a shout out to Ty Martin, playwright Ty Martin, for TY checking in with us. Also shout outs to Malika
Nelson. That's my sister. Yeah. She put all the shit. That's my sister on there. So shout out to my sister.
Big shout outs. You got any shout outs, Naeema?
I guess to my mom. Mama, I love you. Monique, my sister.
Okay.
That's about it. My mom, my sister, my family. my aunt Bridget Collins, all the family out there.
Okay.
Who's watching?
I say, speaking of parents, my mom, she might have texted there, but she sent me a question here to ask. My mom was a spiritual counselor and casting director for O Jordan.
Okay.
And so her question, hi, Mom, is what is the difference between spiritual casting and the regular casting that is done when you come in for an audition, or you have to do your headshot, or you have your video reel that you turn in? Do you have a second to answer that question, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you was looking at me
So,
like
yes.
I need to answer that question.
Yes.
I'm gonna, if you ask me that question, I'm gonna sound like Oswald from In Living Color.
Oh gosh. So I guess let me preface it by saying that in terms of spiritual casting, my mom talks to her spirit guides, talks to angels, and what we do is I will put out casting calls, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, there's no audition." I'm like, "Nope. All I need is your name and know that you're interested and available, and we'll take it from there." I take all the names, I go according to the roles that I need to fill, and then I sit down with Mom and go, "Hey, is now a good time to check in with spirit guides to go over go over who we have?" So it's like we have our casting meeting, but the other person I don't see at the table, but they're in the room. And so we go through all the names. We give them a number through 1 through 10, and then we take those top people who have 9s and 10s, and we ask how they're going to be for the project. So we have your ability or skill level, we ask first, and then we ask, okay, well, how will you be for this project? How will you be working with me? Because you could be a 10, but we can't communicate, which means I'll get nothing from you.
Right.
So you won't be a 10 on this particular project because we can't connect.
Right.
And so it's very helpful in terms of casting. I have to be careful to make sure I ask the right question, because sometimes somebody could be a 5, but once I pair her up with her, all of a sudden they're a 10.
They dimes.
Right. So you can't just ask the person individually and somebody go, "Oh, that's right," and that is somewhat similar to regular casting. You could be the best person who did that monologue, but if you don't have the right energy that works with the other 3 people that we need to cast, I can't cast you.
Yeah.
I've got to cast somebody else. And people fail to remember that when they go into auditions. It's like the casting directors, we want everybody to succeed when you come in. It's like it's not just you that's getting tested. It's us as well. We have to go through and select who becomes part of the team. So for the projects that we have, for O Jordan, we did a project called Limbo. We did a project called Goldsley. We did a project called Miss Wynn's Garden, which Lucy wrote, by the way. She wrote that one, and she wrote Limbo as well.
Shout out to Lucy.
So for all of these projects, we have casted them the same way. And I can say, honestly, that there were some people I would not have cast based on the reel that they turned in. I was like, oh, heck no. But I put their name on the paper anyway, and I would go, "Are you sure? Can you ask again?" Just like you would your regular casting director. It's like, do you really have faith in this person? Because they didn't bring it during the audition. And it's sort of the same thing. And I'm going, "Mom, are you sure?" Because, and she doesn't see the people, so it's all colorblind. In our series or in my shows, you'll see we've got white, we've got black, we have Hispanic in front of and behind the camera. We have Asian as well. Some roles, they're supposed to be men, wind up becoming women. Like we had a teacher that was originally written as a woman, and it winds up being a man that we had for the show. So we try to keep it open, the whole one love kind of idea in the projects. That we do.
Nice. I got to do a shameless plug real quick because we got people hitting us up like crazy. I'm talking about everybody is tuning in to the Beat Break Morning Show via Facebook and IG Live. And someone had a question. They want to know, what is the name of the studio that you are broadcasting live out of? They are loving the ambiance. And I got to shout out Wadeworks Studios. Yeah, so big shout outs to... Yep. Oh, yeah.
That was a little clap.
Got a little bit of clap. But yeah, big shout outs to Wadeworks Studios and G-Wade for letting us do the Beat Break Morning Show from the Wadeworks Studios. So if you want to know more information about Wadeworks Studios, we're going to provide that information later on in the program for all your services needs. All right. So big shout outs to Wadeworks Studio. All right. So it's Women's History Month, and I'm glad everyone here is in the building with me, with yours truly, Sean Garvey, and DJ Rollum. Shouts to DJ Rollum, Sharia Thomas, Sharafat Mohammed, and Diamond Love, the Beat Break Morning Show crew. And, you know, we don't do this very often. Mm-hmm. You know, we always want to celebrate women, especially women of color, African-American women doing amazing things in the world today. But even in the midst of a lot of women doing great things, they still face various obstacles and challenges and adversities in their everyday life. So I want to bring the discussion to the forefront to our Beat Break Morning Show listeners about the adversities that all of you all go through on an everyday basis. So let's start talking about, Me Too movement first and foremost. Even though Me Too movement has been heavy, has been really, really going in on a lot of people, especially in the entertainment world for the past couple of years now. Even though you have this movement, the Me Too movement, it still gets criticized because you have people that say, well, the Me Too movement was hijacked by a black woman that started the Me Too movement. Well, what are your thoughts with where the Me Too movement is at right now? Let's start with you, Naeema.
Oh, with me?
Yeah, you. Our special guest co-host.
The Me Too movement, I think it was powerful because I think it gave voice to a lot of women who I don't think guys realize what women go through on a regular day basis and how like the passing sexual harassment that we have to kind of get used to within our everyday lives. Like, you know, even like I work in a restaurant, and sometimes, you know, you have guys that say, I mean, and restaurant banter is sometimes kind of like anything goes. It's okay when they say certain things, but some things is kind of like, you know, I don't really like that, you know, or, you know, and Me Too kind of makes you realize, like, when someone says what they went through, it's like, wait a second, like, I would do the same thing. And I didn't even realize that was because things happen so regularly. You didn't realize that it was actually something that was, you were being tried a little bit, you know? So I liked the Me Too movement. I think it was I think it was something that gave a voice to a lot of women. As of right now, though, I think it's kind of plateaued. I just don't see much. It exploded and then it kind of fizzled a little bit, I think. As far as I don't see the hashtag Me Too as often. But I think it's good. Maybe I'm not just online as much. I don't know, but I just haven't seen it as much.
I'm about to jump in here.
Jump on in, girl.
So, one, I want to address Sean's comment about it's hard to hijack something that was yours. So we're going to put that to the side real quick for a second.
Wait. So are they saying that she hijacked it?
Yes. But it was something that she
created.
She created.
Okay. So, again, it's hard to hijack what you started.
Right.
Your own thing. I don't want to talk about Me Too in a passive way because it's something that we still experience on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. You know, being women of color, we experience these sexual micro/macroaggressions regularly, and people don't consider that as trauma.
Right.
But it is. And it's weight that we carry. And this is part of what puts us in strange relationships or strange situationships. Mm-hmm. Because stigma associated with...
That's it. And that's why it's seeming like it's waning. Because this right here is not new.
No. Right.
Me Too just gave it a name.
Right. They gave it a hashtag.
It has been going on for years. For
decades.
The beginning of time?
Yes.
Let's go there.
Exactly. It really has. The thing is, when you start speaking out against things that's being injustice, then you're going to get penalized.
Right.
Oh, so now you're the victim, huh?
Right.
That's what's going on. So when a lot of women are hearing this and watching, I don't want to talk about what has happened to me after I just watched them beat you up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it happened to me, but you know what? It ain't happening right now.
Right.
And if I just stay quiet,
because we're
I'll
supposed
be
to
okay.
hold that. We're supposed to
I can
hold
do that
for
smile.
ourselves and for you.
Right.
And for the rest of the family. So I'm holding your trauma, my trauma,
their
trauma. Well, who's helping me?
Right. Who's holding my trauma?
Who's holding my trauma?
Right.
And so we're internalizing it. And I take a line from Amy Tan's The Joy Luck Club. she was eating bitter opium. And she ate the opium to subdue the pain that she was feeling from the rejection from her husband's second wife. We eat bitter opium every time we keep our trauma to ourselves. Every time we don't tell that somebody touched us, or we went to a party and we were assaulted, or we woke up in a bed and we don't know how we got there. But these are the things that no one will hear because you're a little fast-tailed girl.
Right.
You get re-victimized.
Right.
So we're victim blaming, we're victim shaming, and there's nowhere for us to put that. You know, it's, you know, Erykah Badu's song Bag Lady, funny but not funny at the same time. It's like, I have all
you
of
can't
this.
hurry up because you got
too much stuff. You know what I'm saying? He gonna stay. He gonna leave. Like,
right.
And these are true things because nobody's trying to help us carry that baggage. So, I'm a big proponent of self-care. Somebody was arguing, self-care is not what the black woman needs. No, you need to learn how to do self-care just like you needed to learn how to take care of yourself any other kind of way.
Right.
Brushing your teeth, washing your face, washing your body. Self-care is one of those type activities.
Unfortunately, we're dying fast because we're not doing enough self-care.
Exactly.
Right. We're sitting here internalizing so much stuff that is taken on, and it's literally
it's killing us.
You know, and that's like, I read an article, it was a study about nurses, and they were talking about how nurses struggle from health problems and everything because they're taking care of other people, but not necessarily taking care of themselves. If they're working long shifts, they're always on their feet, and they may be eating unhealthy food and not sleeping right. And then they found like a lot of nurses were having like reproductive problems and because of stress, and they're dealing with there's a syndrome called where you can't sleep. I forgot what it's called when you do late night shift syndrome or something like that. It's something
it's
I
like
can't
a
remember.
Shift work thing.
Yeah, it's a shift work. Yeah, it's something. So it's interesting when you think about that. Like as a woman, like are you taking care of too much stuff and not considering yourself?
Can I
Sure.
say, I think the Me Too movement is doing what it was intended to do, which is bring awareness to the problem. How we resolve the problem, I think, is another issue altogether. But I think just a general awareness that there is this problem is being recognized as you see all of these high-powered individuals from news to media to businesses being toppled over because they've abused someone somewhere along the line. And those individuals were sort of forced to keep quiet. And thanks to this movement, they've been able to speak up, and people are now listening to them. And I think that's what the movement was supposed to do, which is what I think it's continuing to do. The more people are actually opening their mouths, the more that something is actually happening and being done about it. I think there's a fine line when it comes to where there's the problem for me, I think when it comes to Me Too is what the defining line is of what somebody may consider like sexual verbal abuse someone else is okay with. So where do you find the line at? And you can't you don't necessarily run around and going, oh my God, they did this, they said this, they said that, and it's like, well, okay, well that was a funny joke. Okay, man, that's really bad. You should go report it. What's the difference? The other problem I have with it is that it tends to be tearing us apart because it becomes men are doing this to us. And it's something that doesn't only happen to women. You find
it happens to men too.
That are abused as well. But,
right.
You know, of course, there's an even larger stigma attached to the abuse that men face as well. Right. But I think that gets forgotten in the conversation a lot of times. It becomes, well, we're women and we've been abused and we've been trampled on and we're not getting a chance to speak up. And I'm like, well, this is your chance to speak up. Don't worry about what happened. Don't worry about what happened in the past, but speak up now. You know, move forward knowing that you have a voice and that somebody will listen. Right. And I think that's the power of the Me Too movement. You know, and I think that a lot of times men, one thing that I've learned, as in school we were talking about, is there room for men? Because as girls, sometimes I think they're more sensitive to girls about like sex or anything, like, you know, we're taught to be discreet or take care, like, you know, keep your flower, you know, and take care of who you give yourself to. I don't think the men are kind of taught like, yo, if you get it, it's great, you do it. But we don't realize, that sow your oats is something that annoys me because when you sow wild oats,
you end up with a field of wild stuff, and sometimes you don't know what's going to destroy each other, where everything is, if it's going to, how to take care of it. And, you know, and I feel like with men, they go out there and they do this, and they don't have somebody to say to them, like, maybe that was wrong. Because I know a lot of guys that I've dated who lost their virginity at like 12, 13 years old at the hands of an older woman.
Exactly.
A babysitter, a cousin, a parent's friend, and teachers. And the stigma is when female teachers get caught doing this to young boys, it's like, oh, you the man. But is there a mental illness that can come from that, whereas maybe not caring about, you know, is there a mental illness?
She stole. Let me just say for the record that she stole my question. Naeema stole my question, because that's why I was going to ask you, Shanta. I know, because as a guy, and I will say this for the record, I said a lot of stuff that I probably regret, or I most likely regret saying when I was a kid. And, you know, I didn't have a lot of role influence, or male role influence, I should say, when I was a kid. You know, you didn't have that strong male role model to really be there and tell you what to say, what not to say to a young lady or to a young woman. And we kind of just idolize a lot of what we've seen on TV and hear on radio, you know, where men are disrespecting women, and you kind of just, you know, you look at it as a joke, and it's funny and all that. And then, you know, when you talk to a certain lady and you mimic what you saw on television and what you hear on radio, and you say that to that lady, it becomes a psychological issue later on in the future. So, you know, to Naeema's point, is it a form of mental illness when you're not being taught?
So this is a big bag. You gotta unpack this one. Like, it's a lot going on. So first of all, yes, there is probably some trauma on the abuser's end, right? Mary Kay Letourneau, I can't stand her. She kicked rocks with no socks, big boulders in the Grand Canyon, because what she did was horrible. She married her student. She had sex with him. She did end up going to jail.
And this is the woman.
Yeah, when I was
that she got out. Yeah, this is from the. This is like one of like the first.
Yeah, this is
kind of
like
the first cases
that you heard about
okay.
back in the 90s. That you heard about.
Yeah,
right,
we heard about, right?
Because right, again,
we know
forever. But she's one of the few that's been prosecuted, so there's this double standard. So then we have, you know, it's kind of glorified because she ended up marrying him and they have children and all this stuff, right? Then you have your mama's friend who was babysitting and, you know, told you not to tell.
Right.
That's molestation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In some cases, you know, that's straight up rape. And yes, that causes trauma because you have just...
What is it, grooming?
That is grooming.
That's
grooming.
It's
exactly. It's grooming behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, baby, you want to come over? Can you go get something for Miss Jackie? Yada, 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 whatever.
Rub my feet, something crazy.
Right, you know, something real crazy. Right, okay? And then, so the grooming behavior starts, but you have just stunted this young man's communication skills. Mm-hmm. Communication skills are the foundation of any relationship you're going to have. If you're not talking about what you're doing with people, that puts shame on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So now you don't know how to communicate with people effectively. You're ashamed of what you're doing. There's a stigma. But it's that reverse stigma because it's not like the, you know, you're a little fast-tail girl.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, look at him. You know, but you're not the man because you don't know what a man does.
Right.
You know the function of a penis. Mm-hmm. Other than that, you don't know how a relationship works. So when you go into other relationships or other basically situations, unless you have someone to model, a positive role model for relationships, yeah, you got a whole lot of bags yourself to unpack. But you don't think about it because the way we paint, now, the way the community tends to illustrate sexuality in boys.
You know what? we brought this right back around to domestic violence and things going on in the home and hidden. What goes on behind this door, what goes on in this house stays in this house. Now, I know what happened, you know, what Uncle Pookie did. But look, we're not trying to tear this family down, so we hide it. And when you said, what is society doing and the media and everybody, well, that's not where it started. You know, we just put a little bit out there. That grooming started right there at home. And if what you see at home, if you see your mom with different lovers or your dad with different lovers, or if you see the interaction with your father and your mother and what you have grown up as to see as being normal in your household, then you take it out, and that's how you define what is supposed to be. You know, you said maybe you didn't grow up with this man or this woman in your life that guided you or the way you think. That's supposed to be guided. But the thing is, kids pick up every day and everything.
They're like sponges.
Every day.
Right.
We pick it all up and we take it back out there. So now when it comes to getting out here with the Me Too movement, I'm looking at it going back to the households and looking at domestic violence starting right there in the household, whether it's with that relationship or whether it's a mother and her children or a dad and their children. You know, it goes out and then it becomes a part of our work environment as well.
And there's one thing I do think is that the Me Too movement, it did come at the right time. I think the Me Too movement broke a lot of generational curses because we have things that happen back in the day with our families that have been covered up, and what that leaks into the other generations is like, you know, like maybe our grandmother or somebody, it was always mean and you didn't know why. Well, maybe her father did something to her, or maybe grandpa was always kind of mean, or something happened. We just don't know. So I think that the Me Too movement came at a time where, for our generation, that it was kind of breaking things and unveiling things. So I think it's always good.
It's going down in the ATL, the hottest and livest mix show with the best in hip-hop and R&B. Beat Break, hosted by Sean Garvey. Follow us on Twitter.com/Beat Break Radio. It's the Beat Break Morning Show with Sean Garvey and the crew.
So I'm going to get into some, I have some statistics that we're going to talk about, because I looked these up, so we're going to talk about statistics, okay? So one thing that I did find interesting was, and this is from the Health Disorders, part of the National Institute of Health. It says women are nearly twice as likely to suffer from major depression than men. However, men and women are both equally likely to develop a bipolar disorder. And then also 4 times as many men than women commit suicide. However, women attempt suicide more often than men. So talking about the Me Too movement, talking about everything, how do you guys feel about those statistics, and maybe why do you think that is? And maybe men are more likely to do it, but women are more likely to attempt it. Oh, and you're the...
So what what we would say was they complete a suicide.
They complete it.
Right. Because there's people attempt suicide
all the time.
Right.
And I think those numbers are probably skewed. They're probably lower than what they actually are because, again, stigma, and people don't want to talk about or admit that, you know, they may have attempted to take their own lives. So you have to be very specific with people, you know, when you're trying to figure out what's going on. You ask them specifically, do you want to die? Do you have a plan to kill yourself? You know, because you need to know, like, if they have a plan, what their plan is, what to get away from them, and then where they need to go.
Take it serious.
Yes.
Right.
Take it serious.
What's the difference between fantasizing and actually making a plan? Because some people fantasize. I mean, because I'm someone, as a child, I struggled with depression. And when I look back, I realized that I did fantasize. I used to think, like, you know, what if I was dead? Like, I'd have all these people. I would thought about, like, what my funeral would be like, and all these people who would care about me. And then at this point, so, but I didn't necessarily make like a plan to do it. To die, yeah.
You just thought about what it would be like. But there's a difference between saying, "Oh, I wonder what it would be like to be dead," or, you know, man, I just really don't want to be here anymore. To Saturday night, I'm gonna take the jump rope from the garage and hang myself in the closet, or I'm gonna take all my mom's pills, or I know the code to the gun safe.
Right.
You know, that's a plan. You know what you're going to do. You know how you plan to harm yourself. So that's why it's very important to be very pointed with the questions. You can't be scared to ask the question. You cannot be scared. You have to check people. You know what I'm saying? Check on your friends. You know what I'm saying? A lot of kids these days cut. Cutting is, non-self-injurious harm. But it can be very serious if it goes unchecked. So you want to offer healthy coping mechanisms for people that are experiencing cutting. You want to do psychoeducation, which means giving their families tools to help them with whatever they're experiencing. And you want to get them help as soon as possible. This is not a healthy way to deal with what you're feeling or what you're not feeling. Because that's why.
So they want to feel something.
They want to feel something.
It feels a void.
And I think what they say is that women tend to want someone to find them or to notice that there is a cry out. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I think people are around you and they don't even see, like, hey, I see you. Like, is everything okay? I think we just get caught up in the motions and going through day to day, and we don't really take time to pay attention to just the people around us who are struggling. Like, you have people in your circle who are struggling, and we are so caught up in social media and da-da-da-da and following whatever trend is trending that people around you are suffering and they're drowning and you don't even notice. And I think a lot of times with women, we're just like, does anybody see me?
Wow.
I just want to do a quick shout out to my friend Angela Crook. She has a mental health youth explosion that she's doing in April. Because one of the things we're touching upon is having a voice and having people hear us. And a lot of times when it's kids, you don't want to believe that kids are depressed. But kids can get depressed just like adults can. And when it goes unnoticed, that's when they wind up dead and parents find them in their rooms. So her youth explosion is on April 27th at the 640 Community Cafe in Atlanta.
Thank you.
It's for young people and families.
Okay,
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing that information. I want to switch gears for one moment while we're on the subject when it comes to domestic violence and sexual abuse and things of that nature. And I know all of us in this room, we're guilty of it because we can't stop talking about it. But R. Kelly.
Oh, God.
I know. I'm about to put a ribbon on this, G. I'm about to put a ribbon on this. Because I know all of us saw the interview with Gayle King and what have you. This is why I need to really ask the question, all right? And I'm going to ask this only on the Beat Break Morning Show. Have we really, as a community, and women in general, have we really muted R. Kelly?
Oh, yeah, 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
I cannot stand R. Kelly. When they first came out, I was like, I ain't trusting that. You got a video of you urinating on a young girl?
There you go.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a long time ago.
I ain't stepping in the name of love. The song, if it's somebody else's party and I'm there, I'm going to go sit down. I'm not supporting it like that. It come on the radio, I'm switching the station. My kids know.
Right.
Mommy can't stand R. Kelly.
But see, here's why I asked that question, right? Because when people say mute R. Kelly, I'm thinking, okay, you muting all songs that R. Kelly made, or are we muting R. Kelly in general completely? Like, I don't want to hear anything else that this man has to say. I don't want to hear any of his songs. I don't want to see any more interviews. But millions and millions of people watched that Gayle King interview, and then after that,
Sorry, me laugh. I was just thinking about him just freaking out.
And then after that, there's memes of him online on social media, even songs of R. Kelly as a meme. Like, have we really muted R. Kelly?
They are part of the conversation that's come out of part of this R. Kelly thing. Is that in the conversations I'm having or arguments I'm having with friends is what's being done to the Black legacy. So they're saying, oh, they're after him. They're trying to get rid of him because he's a great musician. Oh, my God, look, they're trying to topple Michael Jackson. Oh, my God, look at what they did to Bill Cosby. And I'm like, look at what they did to them. What did these men do themselves? Why are you saying that the Black legacy is trash now? Because he did something, has been found guilty, and we're saying stop listening to him. How does that take away from the rest of what we've achieved as Black people?
Right.
So that's part of what's going on with this conversation too. It's not just I love R. Kelly, let him live, let his music live on. It's like it's become larger than R. Kelly and our conversations about what it is we are accepting and not accepting within a Black community. What we want to see our children grow up and idolize. Well, we idolize younger, going, oh my God, I was looking up to somebody who was a sex offender.
Right.
So, and that doesn't sit well with a lot of people. And so they go, no, that can't be right. I'm going to listen to him anyway. Even though, like she said, 20 years ago, we didn't need this documentary to tell us what he's been doing. The evidence has been out forever on this man.
You see, for me, I guess, I'm a little bit younger, and I didn't. I'm just a little bit. That's all right. I'm saying during the time, even when he dated Aaliyah, I was like 9 years old. I didn't know.
Right.
And when the P thing happened, I didn't know. I honestly did not know anything about it. Like, I knew, I saw the court cases, and because it was made fun of so much, I saw it on Dave Chappelle and everything, but I never really like just looked up what it was. So I continued. It was hard not to listen to R. Kelly's music because it turned the radio, and he's on. But after, I definitely say the documentary definitely opened my eyes to a lot of stuff, because I didn't know that and it bothers me because I feel like, if this stuff was going on, why didn't we say anything? I don't know. Some things, it's like with Aaliyah, like with the fact that that she did get pregnant. We know that she got pregnant like at 15, and he married her at 15. And to me, I was like, wait a second, like that's like, from what I know is that that's illegal. Like, you can't, if you get a teenager pregnant and parents pregnant,
their parents gave permission,
so
it's okay,
right?
Okay,
but when does that become a problem where your parents should be held liable too? If she's 15, she's getting pregnant by some, and then I also look at Aaliyah's uncle differently too, because it's like, I think I have an uncle. There is no way that as a 15-year-old girl, I could work with my uncle and his boss like got me pregnant. Like, there's no way that would sit. First of all, I wouldn't be able to be alone with him. Like, and I just think about my mom and everything. I'm like, there's no way this could have happened to me. So what do we do? Is it just, I feel like we have to hold kind of everybody accountable.
I agree.
And not just R. Kelly, because I feel like R. Kelly is a product of the a fostered environment that's more than just the Black community.
Exactly. Now that's where I was going. The upset that's over in on my home front, it's not just the R. Kellys. It's the other people that you're going after. R. Kelly, I want him to get locked up. That's uncalled for. But there's a lot of people that have money that are getting away and are doing it. The Harvey Weinsteins. Mm-hmm. They are being allowed to do this, and nobody's saying anything to the Trumps.
Woody Allen?
Nobody. Exactly. Woody Allen.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's saying anything to this. And you're going back. Bill Cosby. Mm-hmm. Wrong is all get out, okay? We learned to love and respect him as being the father of the Huxtables and everything. And then you hear these things about his past. But you know what? He was not alone with doing that stuff. Mm-mm. They pulled that out. And I'm not going to tell you that what he did was not wrong. But how is it that just these people, the documentaries are being... So I understand why somebody's coming back and saying the Black community and look at what you're doing. I understand. But no, they need to be locked up. But let's get them all.
Yeah.
Let's get them.
So my greater issue is that, okay, so I have to separate this as a person and as a therapist.
Right.
I know.
So is it two, you gotta give us two perspectives? Give us the person and then the therapist next.
The person is, right, I can't stand him. And if this was not a red and black room with a broadcast license, it'd be some other colorful metaphors, as my mother would say.
Right.
I cannot stand him. As a therapist, I have to look at him with empathy for the 7-year-old child that he is stuck in.
Yeah.
Because that is when his trauma occurred.
Absolutely.
And then it kept on going.
going.
And nobody helped him.
So mamas, you need to hear this.
Right.
What was done to him.
That's what he learned.
We look at him as being infatuated with prepubescent girls, but as a 7-year-old, that's what you look at.
Right.
You want to see your sister's friend. You want to see that pretty little girl down the street. He's 7.
And this goes back to sexual abuse, a mental illness.
That is not
can this be the result of
absolutely
of doing this? I guess not learning what's abort lines or guards as far as males. If they're learning that, okay, we value, if they're being taught that there is value in their sexual parts as opposed to who they are, how does that affect them as grown men? Could it lead to something like this?
That is the result. This is the result of that. I have worked with children as young as 6 years old, already experiencing sexually acting out behaviors because that is what they saw as toddlers. So if we don't intervene early, we have generations of R. Kellys because nobody's talking about it.
And that's why I said mothers need to listen. If you're a mother, you need to listen to your child. Anytime a child says something about someone touching them inappropriately, no matter how much you love the other person that they're talking about, take it serious. And then you can prevent further damage being done to your child and even prevent other damage going on with other family, household members or friends and stuff. When you paying attention to that child early. And you can even see some changes. There's a lot of people that say, well, I didn't know that was happening when you're saying the cutting and everything. I didn't know. But if you saw some changes in behavior, there are different signs that you can see and you need to pay attention to and not ignore. Not ignore that this child that should be bubbly and playing and being outside, which we know they don't play outside all the time anymore, but nevertheless, wanting to stay cooped up in their room.
Right.
That is something to take note to.
Yep.
And it is your business to go in the closet, the drawers, the phones, and all. That is your business. Because I've heard them say, I told them, now, do you want this door on here?
Right.
Because I'm going to give you a choice to have a doorknob and a door.
Right.
But to get inside, to be able to know what's going on, then you don't have to see or have to worry about things being planted or people coming in and sneaking in and creeping in on your babies.
What are some signs? What are some signs that that maybe we need to look for in our friends, in our kids, in our siblings, that maybe should a trigger for mental illness or sexual abuse?
So let's look at isolation. When people start keeping to themselves more, they may have been outgoing, but now, they're like, no, I'm going to stay in, or they just not returning phone calls, right? They have lost interest in the things that they like to do. Their eating habits change. Their sleeping habits change. Maybe their performance at work or at school is being affected. Their grades are dropping. Work performance is, lagging. Those types of things. Hygiene. Yeah. You don't bathe for a couple days, somebody might notice. Somebody should notice. Somatization is common, like physical manifestation of pain. Headaches all the time, stomach aches all the time, things like that. Those are signs of anxiety. Anxiety is actually one of the more common diagnosed mental health issues in the country.
But I had a statistic here. Where did it go? I don't know. I had it here, though. But yes, it did say, approximately about 80% of people ages 18 to 54 in a given year have an anxiety disorder in a given year. Anxiety disorders include like panic disorders, obsessive compulsive disorder, post-traumatic stress, and generalized anxiety disorder, which is GAD, and phobias. I didn't know that phobias are... is that like a manifestation
of anxiety? Yeah.
Anxieties.
So this whole Momo thing.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Right. So I got kids that are terrified of Momo. So we're going to show me the evidence that Momo is real.
Right.
Where have you seen Momo? Has Momo actually done anything to you? Right. We have to let them know that this is something that can't harm you.
Right.
Wow.
But this is a thing that, they were introduced to by their parent trying to warn them.
Right.
However, you have to be careful how you warn everyone because this is a child who has a diagnosis.
Right.
And, they are hyper anxious. They're easily scared, right? So I tell my kiddos, everybody's needs aren't the same. I'm not going to explain everything the same way to Angeletha as I'm explaining to Naeema. Your needs are polar opposite. So I'm going to tailor the way I communicate with you, going back to communication. So you have to be very intentional with your words, even as parents. So this is one of my favorite parenting things. It's how you talk to your kids. Because when you tell Johnny to pick up the nearest thing and hit somebody, but then you got to come pick him up from school because he was in a fight and he picked up a chair to hit somebody. He did that because that's what you told him.
You told him to do.
Right.
So we have to be intentional with our words. So he knows he's angry. He knows he's scared. And when he's scared, he has to defend himself. And the way he defends himself is the way his mama told him to defend himself. She didn't tell him to try and, walk away from the situation.
Right.
So we have all of the emotional behavioral health issues that I see, that I work with.
Don't move them us. We got more of the Beat Break coming up right after this. It's time to wake up to the livest show on your radio. It's the Beat Break Morning Show with Sean Garvey and the crew. Nominated for the hottest internet online radio show of 2013 by the ATL's Hottest Entertainment Awards, courtesy of Passkey Entertainment. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Beat Break Radio.
I know we're running a little bit out of time right here on the Beat Break Morning Show for this particular hour. We got the DJ Rolling Mix coming up later on in the broadcast, but I want to end this segment off with this. Black girl magic. Since we have all of our sisters in the room here, I'm going to go to each individual and ask you all, what does black girl magic mean to you?
Where we go?
You start first.
Me?
Yeah. Because Naeema's still taking notes here.
Okay. Black girl magic to me is the manifestation of all that I am, all the potential that I have, all the potential that my children have. Because I have daughters. I only have girls. I have 3 daughters. So it's all that they are capable of that they don't even know right now and that they don't believe when they hear it. That's black girl magic. Because when you tap into that, then the world is like, you done. You can do anything. You just got to believe it.
Okay. What about you?
I am going to claim old age and say that I very rarely actually come across the phrase black girl magic. I've heard a friend use it a time or two, and that's usually when somebody has done something positive that happens to be black and a female, and they go, hey, that's black girl magic. Or, there's been a rise of African-American females in media, in film in particular, in terms of directing and acting and being acknowledged, getting starring roles. Like, I couldn't believe that Alfre Woodard just got her first, like number 1 top billing on a show. She's been like my favorite forever. I just assumed that she always had been.
Yeah.
Right. So when things like that happen that, have been a long time coming, and they finally get here, you kind of feel that's part of the black girl magic.
Okay.
I'm kind of the same. I'm not a person who gets caught up in what's trending and the hashtags and all of that to define us as women, as black women. I feel like we have the examples before us, before Black Girl Magic title came out. I feel like we've always been powerful. I feel like our power is who we are. Like, I don't think a hashtag or a trending top title defines us. I think we've been doing it since the beginning of the time. So I think we are powerful in our own right. So I don't know if I'm with the whole black girl magic thing. I think we've been dope. So I feel like we were dope before the hashtag, and I feel like we're gonna be dope when that fades away. So.
See, and that right there is what we call black girl magic.
Exactly. That was magical.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well,
how can you top that? That's what I'm just.
I'm looking. I'm going. I'm not used to using the term black girl magic. However, I claim the newness in myself with my age. When you hit past 50, and I'm past 50, that you come back and you renew yourself. And I've been talking to other women. Black don't crack. It don't crack, but we sure feel it. We can feel it. But I'm saying to other women that are out there that are saying, you know what, I am just now starting. I'm trying to get out here and do some things again. Me coming out and being involved with the production with Shanalyna is a newness for me. My degree may be in this area, but when I was younger, I was in performing arts. And so when I came back out into film and started doing things, I got excited. So I'm saying to other women, don't be ashamed of that thing that you always wanted to do. Get out there and do it. Don't let nobody stop you believing in you. I believe in me.
Right.
I feel good about me. My black girl magic. I'm here.
Right.
All right.
Amen. And I guess. All right. So she topped it. Oh gosh, y'all give me some. I guess, and I don't necessarily consider it black girl magic, but I think it's a light. Like to be a light, your inner light, and sharing it with others. I think it's really important that as a woman, as a human being, to encourage others, encourage yourself. Don't be afraid to share the spotlight. Don't try to hog things for yourself, and just strive to. Even though you're not in it, you may think you're not an example. You are an example, and strive to be a good example. Because that's your legacy. That's what's going to be left over after you're gone. And I want somebody to say, Naeema made me feel good. Naeema did some great things before she left. So I think I just let your light shine. And Jesus didn't give me magic, but he gave me blessings. So that's what I call it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, can we talk about some treatments or anything, because we talked about some of the problems and everything with mental illness, but I think it's important to let people know that they can overcome it. And if they're having problems, is there something that they should be ways that they can get treatment, what they maybe should be doing for people who are struggling with some mental illness or sexual abuse?
So if you are indeed experiencing a mental health challenge or are recovering from sexual assault, sexual trauma of some type, there are resources. Of course, there's private practice. There are individuals that work, then there are organizations, like private organizations, like I work for one. And we provide services to the community. So they're community organizations. The state of Georgia has what they call CSBs, Community Service Boards. Community Service Boards provide mental health services. And again, like I said, just a lot of small community organizations are out there providing services on a low or sliding fee scale, so you can get the help you need. If you have Medicare covers mental health.
Oh,
yes, yes, it does. Covers it very well, actually. Talk to a friend. There are
programs.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. For the domestic violence hotline, you can call 404-688-7670, or there's an 800 number, 800-799-7233. And most of the services are always free. And it's best that if you're running into a problem, to immediately ask someone to help you, because there's a lot of funding that help even with moving to a safe location. And safety is always first when it comes to any of these elements.
Yep.
All right. There you have it. Okay.
I was going to say, and I was instructed by a doctor the other day who said, hey, if someone comes to you and they feel suicidal, and I was like, so what am I supposed to do about it? And they were like, well, go to the hospital, call 911, get emergency. They're trained to cope and handle and talk with these people. So if you feel like, hey, I'm not the one, what am I supposed to do in this situation? There's always the emergency services that you can fall back on as well.
Right. And then I just want to say, sorry, I'm so sorry. One thing I say, that something that just empowers me, and I have to remind myself that, the Lord didn't give us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. So you can overcome it. You don't have to be a victim. He created us as victors. So I think that's really important to tell our black women and our black men and our white women, white men, to tell everybody, you're an overcomer.
Are we talking about domestic violence right now, right?
Anything.
Well, no, I just want to be careful because autism doesn't work that way.
Oh, and what can we? What are some things about autism?
Well, it's just that autism is not something that you
overcome.
Right. It's a condition or situation that you have and that you live with. It's a part of who you are. So it's not. I just want to be careful that we're not putting out there that you can overcome it and that person should deal with it. It's part of who they are.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. You know,
that's how I make sure that's
and
clear.
You still got the power, you still got love, and you still rocking.
Yeah, I know we packed so much in this one particular special right here on the Beat Break Morning Show as it pertains to women empowerment, and I just want to end off with this. Black girl magic, to me, just to add on to what everyone else was saying, it's everywhere. It's our mothers, it's our sisters, it's our cousins, it's our co-workers, friends, it's Kel the DJ, it's our special guest, it's Shanta, it's Naeema, it's Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms of Atlanta, it's Stacey Abrams, it's Kamala Harris, it's Regina King winning that award. It's so many people, even our ancestors, Coretta Scott King and Harriet Tubman, Betty Shabazz,
Sojourner Truth.
So when you said that it's always been like that before Black Girl Magic, it's always been from history. So I'm glad that we were able to establish this conversation this morning about what it is to be a black woman in today's society, to empower each other and to overcome any obstacles that all of us face in today's society. So I want you all to give yourselves a round of applause for shedding light to our listening audience. And before we let you all go, individually, go ahead and give out your contact information, your social media handles, and all that good stuff.
I am SL Hayes _speaks on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
I'm Shanalyna. I just want to say real quickly before I do that is that I think it's awesome that we have Women's History Month, but that is also important to acknowledge the men who help us women get to where we are. And I think it's more important to think of us as a community versus as one versus the other. I'm waiting for that black boy magic, and most of the guys want to hear black man magic versus black boy, so I don't know why we go with black girl versus black woman. But that's a whole nother story.
That's part two. I gotta
my name is Shanalyna. I'm the producer of the web series Oh Jordan. You can find it at oh-jordan.com. You can find us on Instagram at Shanalyna _CP. You can find me on Facebook under Shanalyna CP, under Spirit of Life Films, and under Oh Jordan Autism web series.
I am Heather. And just to piggyback, because I feel a little convicted, let me shout out my husband, William Covington, who is always in my corner and pushing me to pursue all my creative endeavors. So shout out to my husband.
Black man magic.
Yeah. So I am on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. I have Twitter. I don't really do Twitter, but I'm still there. Testimony Lyrical Artist.
And I am Angeletha Maya. You can find me on Facebook as well as Instagram as Angeletha Maya, and my organization is Coastal Home Incorporated. There you go.
And then I'm Naeema Nelson, Naeema Mina. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram, Naeema Naeema Nelson, and then on Instagram it's Amina AMINA 88. And then I do videography, so I also have a Facebook page and Instagram, a media production, and that's AMEEDIA _productions.
All right. Big shout outs to Kel the DJ for holding it down, ladies and gentlemen. Follow her on Instagram, Kel the DJ 215. Yep, Kel the DJ 215 on IG, and yours truly, Sean Garvey, SEANGARVEY ATL on Instagram, Twitter, and Sean Garvey at Sean Garvey on Facebook. Wadeworks Studios website.
WadeWorksStudios.com or Instagram at Wadeworks Studios.
Wadeworks Studios. Yeah. So follow them everywhere on social media, Wadeworks Studios. All right. Big shout out to Wadeworks Studios for having us do this important conversation here at the studios. All right. So make sure you download the app, Beat Break 87 FM app, to your mobile device, as well as check us out on BeatBreakRadioFM.com, hashtag at Beat Break Radio, and all that good stuff. All right. Stay tuned for the DJ Roland Mix, Sharia Thomas, Diamond Love, and also at the news desk we got Sharafat Muhammad. She's going to give you some local news. All right. So stay tuned. It's the Beat Break Morning Show, Women's History Month in the building. Y'all keep your dial locked. It's the Beat Break Morning Show.
If you're tuning in to hear your favorite slow jams, then you're tuning in to the wrong station. Get your laugh on with the best in hip hop, R&B, and talk radio on Beat Break Radio.